Bonjour, welcome to my cuisine, my kitchen at Paris. Today we're going to talk about how to dine like the French. We're going to talk le pain, bread. We're going to talk le vin, wine, and cheese, and what not to do. So if you're curious about how French people dine, this video is just for you. I'm going to spill the tea. Prepare yourself a nice cup of tea or cup of coffee or something to eat parce que on va parler de la dining etiquette in France. For those of you who don't know me, je m'appelle Gabrielle. My name is Gabrielle. Je parle en anglais, in English et en français, and in French. I'm on YouTube every single week. I love to talk about Paris culture and hidden gems, and also about French culture, like culture française. So if you don't want to miss the next French culture video or Paris video, go ahead and subscribe so I can see you here every week, chaque semaine. These are kind of gonna be tips that apply both to à la maison et au restaurant, but if you want me to make a specific video about restaurant etiquette tips, I can make that. You just need to comment and then I will see if it could be interesting for others. But for now, we're gonna talk about the simple rules, les règles de base that everyone applies. Firstly, don't be that tourist, ne sois pas ce touriste, and wait until everyone is served. Attends que tout le monde soit servi. Don't dig in until someone said bon appétit or as long as you can see that everyone has been served. Quand tu manges, when you eat, don't have your elbows directly on the table because c'est pas très respectueux, but definitely don't have your hands under the table. Make sure that your hands are visible, que tes mains soient visibles. N'utilisez pas votre portable à table. Don't use your phone while you're eating at the table. I know many of these perhaps may seem basic or obvious, but I think it's always nice to see a video like this right before you're planning your trip to France. And the other general one is don't leave until everyone has finished eating. Or for example, if you need to take a call or leave a bit early, you will first want to say, excusez-moi, excuse me. Basically, French dining is kind of like a little dance, so don't just freestyle the steps. Know the basic manners, know the basic steps, and then everything will be fine. Mais le sujet de la nourriture, the subject of food, I feel like I could talk about it for hours. So if you want to have a video specific about ways to eat certain foods en France, I could make a video about that too. The table is a big deal, so the way everything is set up is a huge deal. Here I'm showing you a photo about how it's typically set up at home and how it's typically set up in a restaurant. You don't need to know all the rules, but the general ones are that you start from outside using the fork and knives and then you make your way in. S'il y a deux verres, if there are two glasses, that means one of them is for water and one of them is for wine. If there are three glasses, that means it's for water, le vin blanc et le vin rouge, white wine and red wine. And usually the white wine glass, le verre pour le vin blanc, est un peu plus petit, it's a bit smaller than le verre pour le vin rouge. Et si tu es dans un restaurant, if you're in a restaurant, ils vont te demander, they will ask you si tu bois du vin. Est-ce que vous allez commander du vin? Will you order wine? And if you say no, they'll probably take it away right away. Although en France, the fork is on the left and the knife is on the right, j'ai une mauvaise habitude. I personally have a bad habit that I use my fork on the right. But when I'm in a restaurant setting, I do my best to use my fork on my left parce que normalement la main la plus forte, the strongest hand, is the one that's meant to cut. So la plupart des gens, ils mangent avec leur fourchette à gauche. Actually, tell me, do you use your fork, ta fourchette, dans la main gauche in the left hand or dans la main droite in the right hand? Et le pain, bread, most of the time, if you're at someone's home, it will not be on the plate. It will just be directement sur la table, so directly on the table or on the tablecloth. C'est tout à fait normal. It's completely normal. And in restaurants, sometimes ils peuvent le mettre dans une petite corbeille. They can put it like in a little basket with bread. But while you're eating it and dining it, you can have it on the table. Pas de problème, no problem. The napkin that you see that is always sur l'assiette, it's kind of a no-brainer, but most of the time, ça va sur les genoux, it goes on your lap. Une chose importante, an important thing is to slow down. Prenez votre temps. Really take your time. Really. Meals in France, les repas en France, they're never rushed. They're all about connection, conversation, and digestion. That's like a little 3 words that I use to remember it parce que c'est tellement vrai. It's so true. Eating and spending time with others really takes their time. Il faut pas être pressé. You shouldn't be in a hurry unless you're having like fast food or un produit rapide or in a boulangerie, that's food to go. Ça, tu peux manger rapidement. But when you go to a restaurant, just know that you're not going to be there for 45 minutes, an hour. Ça va être sûrement plus longtemps. It will surely be for longer. You must be wondering, what are the meals like en France? So le petit déjeuner really depends on the person and their agenda. I know that I've asked a few people and they tell me they spend around 30 minutes, 30 minutes pour le petit déjeuner. Personally, when I was working en Asie, in Asia, j'avais pas trop le temps. I didn't have much time, so I actually fell in love with making smoothies. Les smoothies avec plein de fruits différents with lots of fruit. That's how I put in my vitamins and able to have some energy in a short amount of time to go. Mais en France, le week-end, j'aime prendre mon temps. I really enjoy taking my time. Pendant le week-end, for example, peut-être avec des pâtisseries with pastries, avec un chocolat chaud with a hot chocolate, avec un jus d'orange. My favorite is le jus d'orange pressé, which is pressed orange juice. And avec des tartines, so you have ta baguette with some beurre, with some butter et avec de la confiture with some jam. Ça, c'est vraiment un super petit déjeuner. Not to do every day because c'est pas très équilibré. It's not very balanced. Mais c'est très très bon. And for lunch, le déjeuner, in France, people have a 2-hour break. And most of the time to eat, they will spend between 1 heure à 1 heure et demie, 1 hour to 1 hour and a half. But it really depends what you want to do. For example, you can go ahead and buy food et te poser dans un parc and go in a park and eat there. Or you can eat directly dans la cantine, in the canteen, or dans le restaurant. And the longest average meal, actually in the world, the French people are the ones to spend le plus de temps à table, the most amount of time eating, c'est le dîner. So le dîner, the dinner, usually starts around 20 heures at 8 p.m. Il n'y a pas vraiment de fin. There's not really an ending. It can go up to 23 heures, 11 p.m. But most of the time, I would say 10 p.m. Mais c'est vrai que ça passe très vite. It goes so fast. I think it's also related to the fact that we really like to catch up over a long period of time. And as our meals have so many steps, il y a plein de différentes étapes between the moment you order your first drink, tous les entrées, tous les plats, tous les fromages, tous les desserts, tous les cafés digestifs. So just listing all of that is already quite a while. Plus you add the conversation, ça prend notre temps. And usually, en fin de journée, at the end of the day, les gens aiment bien se détendre. They love to relax and they love to have conversations. Personnellement, moi, j'aime bien manger vers 19 heures. I love eating around 7 p.m. But my French friends considèrent ça très tôt. They consider that very early because en Asie, when I was studying and working in Asia, on mangeait à 17h30, 18h. So we would eat around 5:30 p.m., 6 p.m. Et toi, à quelle heure manges-tu le dîner? What hour do you eat dinner? Because en France, c'est très normal de manger à 20h. It's very normal to eat at 8 p.m. Et c'est marrant, it's interesting because you usually start with an apéritif. An apéritif is part of also the culture of apéro. Usually it's a drink and with like a few small foods, perhaps some olives or some crackers. The apéritif can be anything from a cocktail to a fizzy drink or even just a glass of wine. And we end the meal, on termine le dîner avec un digestif. So digestif goes into the name. So they were alcohols originally to help people digest. Donc qui aide la digestion, le digestif. Et en France, most of the time it can be with cognac or it can be with a type of herbal liquor. What about you? Do you have apéritif before your meal and digestif at the end of your meal? If you arrive to someone's home to eat, si tu arrives chez quelqu'un, they will probably seat you. You're not just gonna sit directly. And if you go in a restaurant, you're gonna wanna wait at the entrance, à l'entrée du restaurant, and wait until the server comes near you, and they will accompany you to place which table. They say good posture leads to good digestion, and that I have to agree with. Je suis d'accord. Indeed, it's always good to have like a better posture and to be facing the people and also to have eye contact with the people. Le pain is sacré. Bread is sacred. I would say bread is really like a French symbol of simplicity and also French pride. Le pain est sacré. It's not just food, but it's also a really big part of our history. So don't treat it like basic chips and salsa because there are rules around it. Bread accompanies the food. Le pain accompagne la nourriture. You don't just munch on it, and especially when it first arrives before all the dishes. Sometimes I see tourists at Paris that they're just eating the whole bread before any of the entree and the dishes arrive. That's usually not how French people do it. The bread itself is usually cut in a special place in a special way, but once you have it to yourself, you can break it apart with your hands any way you want. Most of us, we don't really put it on a fork, but we have this thing called saucer, to sauce. So we use the bread with a saucy dish and we sauce it at the end. Et c'est trop délicieux. I think every French person does this, is to not waste the sauce. Et aussi c'est un super bon goût. It has such a great taste. I'm curious, how is bread eaten where you're from? Do you also eat it this way? And do you also do the thing called saucer where you sauce the dish at the very end? And when you toast, seriously, eye contact, le contact des yeux, c'est très important, really important for respect. I've heard it's 7 years of bad luck, so no one wants that. For serving, and especially for wine, never top up your own glass first. Il faut d'abord servir les autres. You need to serve others, et en particulier les femmes, and particularly you need to first serve women. And then you can serve yourself if you're the one serving à la bouteille, by the bottle. Also, a tip when you're in France, don't ask for a bottle of water, ask for une carafe d'eau. Une carafe d'eau is the tap water because yes, en France, we can drink tap water. So why not take advantage of it? Plus, it will make you save money and really seem like a local. Also, there's a way to serve wine and appreciate wine. I could also make a video about that. I'm not the most knowledgeable about every type of wine, but I do know how we serve it because I have done an internship in a hotel in Aix-en-Provence when I was very young. So I really learned everything about what there is to serving a bottle of wine and all the etiquette around that. So if you would be interested in a wine etiquette video, je pourrais faire ça aussi. I could do that too. Just let me know directly, writing it in the comments. Et on pourrait voir ça ensemble. And we could learn more about that together. There are things to cut and not to cut, and there are things to cut in a certain way. Why? Because French dining is all about l'élégance, about elegance. So there is a certain finesse to it. So there are certain foods that you can cut, certain foods you cannot, and there are certain foods to cut in a certain way. For example, les pâtes, the pasta. You want to twirl it with your fork, but you don't want to chop it and then eat it. I think les Italians will not be very happy. Et les Français non plus, and French people either. J'adore les grosses salades en été. I love big salads during the summer. My favorite are salade chèvre miel, which is salads with the French sauce and with toast that have goat cheese on it plus a bit of honey. C'est tellement délicieux. But the lettuce and the salad, tu ne les coupes pas. You don't cut it. I've seen French people cut it, but most of the time, the best way is to kind of fold it like origami. So you want to fold it like in your fork, in your plate. After you folded it and you put it in your fork, tu peux le manger directement. You can directly eat it. There are also some other foods that you can only cut in certain ways. Mon préféré, c'est le fromage. My favorite is cheese. But learning how to appreciate cheese and how to cut the different cheeses, this would need its own video. So if you want to see a video about les fromages, about cheese, I can make a video about that too. And en France, cheese isn't just an appetizer. It's really a big step and it comes before desserts. It's the part where you switch from the salty to the sweet, and it really makes you appreciate the taste of cheese. It comes after the main dish and it comes right before the dessert. So la transition entre le salé et le sucré. And with cheeses, most of them are salty, but there are also sweet cheeses like le fromage blanc, which is white cheese that is kind of liquidy. It's in this picture right here. And j'aime beaucoup ça. I really like that because my grandparents would give that to me every summer. And so you can put un peu de crème par-dessus. You can put a bit of cream. That's how my grandparents would do it. And then un peu de sucre par-dessus and then a bit of sugar. Et ça s'appelle un fromage blanc, and it's one of my favorite things. J'aime beaucoup, beaucoup ça because it reminds me of my childhood. For conversations, pour la conversation, what to talk about and what not to talk about, I would say en France, there's really nothing what not to talk about parce que nous, les Français, French people, on parle de tout. We talk about everything. But I would say the hot topics when you have meals are really about your hobbies, your travels, about politics, and about food. You don't really talk about your work all the time, unless if you're in a work meeting or you're meeting a colleague about a certain topic. C'est pas un sujet hyper présent. It's not like a subject that's the main focus, because for me, who has worked in Asia before, on parle beaucoup, beaucoup de travail. We speak a lot about work and on parle beaucoup des choses qu'on a achetées. We talk a lot about like material things that we bought. Et en France, je dirais pas trop. In France, not too much. And I actually really like it because it really makes you focus on things outside of your work and it really connects you to qui tu es, who you are, and what interests you and what the other person is interested in. And you can leave the meal feeling like you had like an amazing eye-opening conversation, which makes you see things differently and perhaps build you as a person. Gratitude, as I always say, not just for France in general, is subtle but very powerful. Like whether you're thanking the person that's for spending time with you, or you're thanking the host, or tu remercies le chef, or you're thanking the chef, you always want to be very thankful. And plus the fact that you're being able to spend this time around a meal with this person, that they could be doing something else, you always want to be very grateful for spending time with them, and you want to make sure that they know that too, qu'ils le savent aussi. When we say bon appétit, it's not just to say let's eat now, it's also a way to say let's really enjoy this time and meal together. Et en France, l'art de table, in French, dining etiquette and table manners, it's really all about la présence, le plaisir et les personnes. So once you really respect and appreciate all those things and make an effort for that, and even just being more mindful while you eat with others outside or even at home, can really make a big difference in the long term. So I really hope you appreciate all your future meals with the people you love. And if you're coming to France, I hope these will be useful. And if any of the videos I mentioned earlier, perhaps about the wine etiquette or the cheese etiquette, if those videos interest you, let me know in the comments so I can perhaps make videos about those coming soon. As you can see, I'm really passionate about these topics and French culture. I post about them also on my Instagram, but I'm on YouTube every single week and I read all the comments, and I really like knowing about your stories or if there's anything you've learned from these videos. Ça me touche beaucoup, it touches me a lot. The next video is about a historical French address in Paris que j'adore, that I love. I can't wait to share that with you. So if you don't want to miss it, go ahead and subscribe. And for now, I'll see you very, very soon. I hope you have a great rest of the day. Merci beaucoup et à bientôt!